Have you ever been recruited as a fake boyfriend at a CVS by someone avoiding their ex? I was buying migraine medicine at 2 in the morning when this guy grabbed my arm near the pharmacy counter. Please, he whispered, eyes red-rimmed. Just pretend for 5 minutes. I'll pay you. Before I could respond, he linked his arm through mine and loudly said, Babe, did you find the vitamins? A woman I hadn't noticed was standing by the shampoo aisle, watching us with an expression that made my skin crawl. That's my ex, he hissed through a fake smile. Jessica, she's been following me for 3 blocks. Jessica started walking over, all 5'9" of her in designer heels that probably cost more than my car. The guy's grip on my arm tightened. He was shaking. Marcus, she said, ignoring me completely. We need to talk about us. There is no us, he said, pressing closer to me. I told you I'm seeing someone. Her eyes finally landed on me. 5'11", wearing gym shorts and a faded band t-shirt. Clearly not anyone's boyfriend at this particular moment. This is who you're dating? The disbelief in her voice was insulting. Something about her tone flipped a switch in me. I straightened up and pulled Marcus closer. Yeah, problem? How long have you been together? She asked, crossing her arms. 4 months, Marcus said at the exact moment I said 6 months. Jessica smirked. The overnight CVS employee was pretending to stock shelves while obviously listening. We've been together 4 months officially, I improvised. But we were friends for 2 months before that. 6 months total since we met at that rock climbing gym. I looked at Marcus meaningfully. Remember? You couldn't make it past the first wall. He caught on quick. You said everyone starts somewhere. Because they do, I replied. Just like you did. I turned back to Jessica. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're trying to pick up his prescription. He doesn't have any prescriptions, she said triumphantly. I would know. We were together for 3 years. Marcus's whole body tensed. I could feel him starting to panic. Without thinking, I stepped forward, putting myself between them. Actually, he does, for anxiety, which started about 3 years ago. Weird coincidence, right? The CVS employee snorted, then tried to cover it with a cough. Jessica's face went red. You don't know anything about him. What's his middle name? I had no idea, but Marcus squeezed my hand twice. Some kind of signal. He doesn't use it anymore, I said. Not since his grandfather James passed. Too painful. Marcus gasped. I'd either nailed it or completely failed, but he played along, dabbing at his eyes. You remembered. What's his favorite movie? Jessica demanded. Which one? I shot back. The one he tells everyone, or the one he actually watches when he's sad? She blinked, thrown off. The one he tells people is The Godfather, because it sounds sophisticated, I continued. But really, it's The Shawshank Redemption, and he quotes every single line. Marcus stared at me like I was psychic. Lucky guess number 2. Fine, Jessica said, pulling out her phone. If you're really dating, prove it. Kiss him. The CVS employee dropped an entire box of shampoo bottles. Marcus and I looked at each other. His eyes were asking permission, terrified but determined. I nodded slightly. He stood on his tiptoes. I leaned down, and we shared the most awkward, closed-mouth middle school dance kiss in CVS history. Satisfied? I asked, wiping my mouth for effect. But Jessica wasn't done. What's his biggest fear? You, I said without hesitation. That's why he changed his number, moved apartments, and switched gyms. That's why he's shopping at a CVS across town at 2 a.m. instead of the one near his place. That's why his hands haven't stopped shaking since you walked in. The store went silent, except for the fluorescent light buzzing. I just want to talk, she said, but her voice had gone cold. No, Marcus finally spoke. You want control. There's a difference. The CVS employee cleared his throat. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're disturbing other customers. Jessica looked around, realized she was outnumbered, and stormed out. The automatic doors wheezed shut behind her. Marcus collapsed against the candy display, finally letting himself cry for real. The CVS employee brought him tissues from aisle 4. We sat on the curb outside until Marcus stopped shaking. He told me Jessica had been showing up everywhere. The gym, the coffee shop, his brother's building. How did you know about the Shawshank Redemption? He asked. Lucky guess, I said. You seem like the type who appreciates hope. He laughed for the first time all night. And my grandfather's name? Your watch, I admitted. It says James on the back. Figured it was someone important. He touched the watch unconsciously. You're incredibly observant for someone in gym shorts. We exchanged numbers. I walked him to his friend's apartment 12 blocks away, making sure Jessica wasn't following. 3 days later, he texted me that Jessica had been arrested for violating a restraining order. A month later, he invited me for coffee. 6 months later, we were actually dating. Now it's been 2 years. We still shop at that CVS sometimes. Last week, the same employee grinned at us and said, So, did you ever tell him your real middle name? Marcus laughed. He guessed it right the first time. It was fate.